Hello everyone, myself Amruta Patil, lecturer from Department of Information Technology, Aryant Education Foundation, Aryant Arts, Commerce and Science Junior College, Baudhan, Pune. Today I am here for the explanation of basics of information technology. Contents here which I am going to explain are Introduction to GNU Linux, graphical user interface, command line interface, the GNU Linux file system hierarchy standards, why to learn and use the GNU Linux, and the computer network. So, the first topic which we will be studying is the introduction to GNU or the Linux. GNU, not Unix. GNU or Linux is a family of operating systems that are created by various companies, organizations, and individuals. It is created by using the free software philosophies. This means that GNU Linux operating systems are usually free of charge, free to distribute, and they are open source. So GNU Linux is an open source operating system which is free of charge to use for anyone, and it can be used, modified, and updated. Open source is when a person can view and modify the code for a piece of software. Okay, so it also allows the users to program their own features or fix problems and help the developers. That means he is a programmer, a user can use the program and he can add his own features of his choice and he can fix any kind of problems and help the developers of the operating system. So the second topic will be the graphical user interface, it is GUI. The GUI is when the user interacts with the computer using the images or icons on and the dialog boxes. Okay, so the figure shows what the Ubuntu 18.04 looks like. So in the next slide we will be having the figure. So here you can see the figure of the GUI of the Ubuntu Linux. So this is the GUI where there is a clock, calendar and notifications. The system menu is there. The activities here are arranged in a systematic way where they are at the top left corner and there's a app menu. Okay, so here you can see the left bar is called the panel. So this left bar is called the panel and this GUI is called the genome. So it's a very important thing. The GUI is called as the genome. There are shortcuts to programs as well as currently open programs. The search option is used for quick search of the application. So you can do a quick search of any kind of application used here. The home folder is where all the personal documents and the settings are stored. Okay, and every user has their own home folder. Okay, so a home folder is there which has all the documents. Okay, so installing new software on Ubuntu is done using the Ubuntu Software Center. So there's an Ubuntu Software Center where all the applications are there. You can download it from there directly. Okay, so this is the GUI. So next is command line interface. So there's a difference between GUI and CLI, that is command line interface. The command line interface is when a user interacts with the computer using the text. Okay, so there are no dialog boxes, there are no shortcuts or anything. There's nothing here that is graphical here. The interface is using the text. Okay, this is done by typing the commands into a terminal. So a terminal has to be opened and there you can do the texting and then you can operate the computer. The default CLI on Ubuntu 18.04 is called the bash. Okay, so it is a command processor that runs in a text window where the user types the commands that causes the action. Okay, so the CLI, that's the command line interface where the user can type his commands for particular action that has to be executed. Okay, the commands are programs that are run when user types command name. Okay, so there are a number of different commands that a user can use. Okay, so this was about the command line interface. So here, what are the commands and what is the description? They have given you a simple example also and the detailed description in the tabular form. First command is ls, that is list the directories. Okay, when this is typed ls, this prints the list of directories in the current one. Okay, next is pwd, that is print working directory. Okay, so this what it does, it prints the path to the current directory. Okay, who am I is a command. When typed, what it does is prints the name of the current user on the terminal, on that particular terminal, who is the current user, that is printed. Okay, lscpu is list the cpu, that is prints the information about your cpu on the terminal, whatever information hard disk is there and all. So that is which operating system is used, which version is used, that is all printed. Okay, touch is you are going to use it with a file name .txt. Okay, so that's this creates a new file. Okay, cd is the change directory, cd downloads. What happens here is control goes to a different directory. Okay, next is nano. Nano is a text editor. Here also you will have to specify the name of the file, that is file name.txt. Here nano is a text editor. Okay, this command will open the file name.txt, or it creates it if it is doesn't exist. Okay, if this file name is doesn't exist, then it will create that kind of file, that name of the file, and will create the file. You can type the text in the nano, and when you are done you can press Ctrl plus O followed by enter, save, and Ctrl plus X followed by enter to exit the nano. Okay, so cat, next concatenate. Concatenate means you are going to print the contents of the files is listed on the screen. Okay, so here you will have to give the file1.txt and file2.txt, two files which we are going to concatenate. Okay, next is echo, a built-in command. Built-in command is there, echo help. What is this does, it is used to display the line of text or string that are passed as an argument. So whatever you are going to pass with the echo, whatever text or string you are going to pass, that is going to be displayed. Okay, that is going to be echoed. Color clear is to clear. What it clears? It clears the command prompt. Okay, so these are some of the commands which are used. Next is the GNU Linux file system hierarchy standards. Okay, so in GNU Linux, the topmost directory is called the root directory, and it is written as a slash. Okay, so the topmost is the root, and that is written as the slash. All directories are stored under the root directory. So root directory is the main directory, where under which all the other directories are saved. For example, if the user is ABC, the home directory will be created at home/abc. Okay. This is a brief summary of the file system. What slash is the root directory. Okay. All the files and directories are stored under this directory, and including all the hard drives, pen drives, CD drives, etc. All the drives are also saved under the root directory. Next is slash bin. Essential system programs are stored here. Whatever essential programs are there, system programs are there, those are saved under slash bin directory. Next is slash dev. That is all the connected devices. Dev means devices. These are stored here, including internal devices, temperature sensors, and batteries are saved. Next is slash etc. System configuration files are stored here. Okay. Next slash proc. Proc means processes, files that provide the information about the processes. This is information like how much RAM is free or how fast the CPUs are running. Okay, so those kind of processes are saved under slash proc directory. Slash tmp is temporary files are stored here. Next is slash home. Users home directories are stored here. So these are some of the directories which are telling you the brief information about what do they save. Next is why learn and use the GNU Linux. So why is it important to learn and use the operating system? First point is Linux is free and open source. As I have told you, the word free here doesn't just mean free of charge but also means freedom. Freedom to what? Freedom is any anyone is free to use this software, distribute them freely, and even study and modify or update the source code to suit one's own need. Okay, so the user has the freedom to use it free of charge, no doubt, but also he can modify the source code. Okay, Linux operating system is free from viruses. Okay, the user need not install any antivirus software over here as we do in the Windows operating system. This all saves money as well as valuable time. Okay, so antivirus software is not needed to be installed over here, so this saves money. The users are free from the trouble of updating the virus definitions. Okay, so this there's no virus, so there's no trouble of updating the virus definitions. Finally, antivirus software often gives a false alarm and may delete the files assuming the existence of the virus. Okay, so there's no kind of false alarms over here because it's free from viruses. Next is easy to keep all the software up to date. How proprietary operating systems can update themselves, but they cannot update other software, especially proprietary software. Okay, so the user has to keep track of each application on his own. Linux distributions mostly use free software, so it keeps track of all the softwares through repositories. Okay, repository means what? Repository is a collection of software for a Linux distribution on the server. Okay, so the package manager updates the operating system as well as other softwares periodically. Okay, so in the repositories there are the updates are there, so they can we can download it, we can upload the updates. Okay, download the updates. Next is the fourth point is Linux is flexible and easily customizable. Okay, the user can change the desktop, the position of the menu, status bar position, styles, default file manager, icon themes, and lot more. Okay, so almost everything in Linux is customized. Okay, so what they are saying is the Linux operating system is flexible enough to use for the user, and also it is customizable. He can make changes, he can modify and update the software. Excellent support is the fifth point. There are thousands of forums and millions of people ready to help open source software users. Okay, so each distribution has its own community of users and they help each other. Okay, so many software companies and developers of free software also offer solutions to the problems through community platforms and also through professional channels. So there are a number of people, there are a number of communities who are helping the users for the updation. Okay, so if the users are facing any kind of problem, there are a number of forums and millions of people who are ready to help those kind of people who are using these open source softwares. Okay, so there's an excellent support for this kind of operating system. So next point is topic is the computer network. What is it? It's a group of interconnected computers or devices to have communication within themselves. Okay, so a network consists of a collection of computers. Okay, a computer network consists of a collection of computers or maybe a printers or other equipments that is connected together so that they can communicate with each other. Okay, so this is a definition of a computer network. Next is the types of networks. What are the three types of networks based on geographical area? Okay, so that is LAN, MAN, and WAN. The entire use and implementation of these types depends upon the geographical area they cover. Okay, so they are differentiated, they are categorized on the basis of the geographical area they cover. Okay, the first is LAN, Local Area Network. The short is LAN, LAN. It covers smaller geographical area. Size is limited to a few kilometers and are privately owned. Okay. Usage area is limited to areas such as an office building, home, hospitals or schools, etc. Okay. So it covers a short distance and so the error and noise are minimized. Okay. So the distance covered by this network is very less. Okay, so there are no less number of errors and noise. Okay, LAN is easy to set up. Data transmits at a very fast rate as the number of computers are limited. Okay, so it is a less expensive hardware and maintenance cost is also low. Okay, because the geographical area it covers is small, these are the advantages which we have. Okay, Next is WAN, wide area network. It's a computer network that extends over a larger geographical area. It might be confined within the bounds of a state or a country. Okay, so a WAN could be a connection of LAN connecting two other LANs via telephone lines and radio waves. Okay, there can be one or two LANs connected, and it covers and becomes a WAN, and they are connected via telephone lines and radio waves. Okay, so the technology is high speed and relatively expensive. A communication medium used for WAN is telephone network or satellite link. Okay, the medium used is telephone network or a satellite link. So because of that, it is relatively expensive. Due to long distance transmission, the noise and error tends to be more in WAN. Okay, so this is about wide area network. Next is MAN, metropolitan area network. It covers a larger area than that of a LAN, but smaller than the WAN. Okay, that's in between LAN and WAN. You can see it connects two or more separate computers that reside in same or different cities. Okay, so understand the difference. It covers a larger geographical area and may serve as an internet service provider also. Okay, it is hard to design and maintain a MAN. Examples of MAN are the part of the telephone company network that can provide a high speed DSL line to the customer, or the cable TV network in a city. Okay, so that's an example of a MAN. So this was about the basics of information technology, where we studied the basics of the GNU Linux, why we should use them, what are the features, and the types of networks. Thanks for watching.